You might think Squid Game was just another successful Netflix series, but the truth behind its creation, impact, and legacy is far more unbelievable than most people realize. Let's start with something most fans still don't know. The terrifying doll from the very first game, red light, green light, wasn't CGI. That towering, motion-detecting robot was a real-life animatronic, borrowed from a rural Korean museum. After filming, it was returned like any other museum prop. And if that gives you chills, it gets even creepier when you find out the game sets were just as real. The giant playground, the pink staircase maze, even the glass bridge. All of it was physically constructed. The actors actually stood on those high platforms, hooked up to safety gear, which made their fear absolutely genuine. This wasn't green screen, it was real danger, real tension, real screams. And speaking of realism, the Dalgona Candy Challenge didn't just explode on screen. It blew up in real life, too. After going viral on TikTok, people everywhere were trying to recreate the candy cutting game, and many ended up burning themselves with molten sugar. Some vendors in Korea even had to put up "Don't try this at home" signs. That's how deeply the show embedded itself into pop culture. But here's the part that still shocks me. Squid Game was written way back in 2009. Creator Hwang Dong-hyuk had the whole concept ready, but no one wanted it. Studios thought the idea was too bizarre and too brutal to be marketable, so the script just sat for over a decade. Hwang struggled through financial hardship during that time. He even sold his laptop to stay afloat. When the show finally got the green light from Netflix, the pressure nearly broke him. He lost 6 teeth from stress while filming. It's wild to think how close this show came to never existing. And even the main actor, Lee Jung-jae, who plays Gi-hun, almost quit acting entirely before landing the role. He hadn't acted for 2 years and was considering leaving the industry. Now, he's an international icon, all because of one last shot. When Squid Game did launch, it didn't just perform well, it shattered every record. Within a month, 111 million Netflix accounts had watched it, blowing past Bridgerton's previous record. It was number 1 in 94 countries, including the US, where no Korean series had ever reached the top before. For a subtitled drama, that kind of global dominance was absolutely unheard of. The cultural impact was immediate. By Halloween 2021, the show's green tracksuits and pink guard uniforms were everywhere, from parties to parades. Even public agencies joined the craze. In India, the Mumbai police used Squid Game memes to promote traffic safety, posting a red light, green light, PSA to remind drivers about stoplights. That's right. A show about mass murder was repurposed into road safety content. That's how deep the show reached into everyday life. It also helped spark a broader fascination with Korean culture. In the US, college enrollment in Korean language courses rose dramatically, and Squid Game is often credited as one of the key reasons why Korean entertainment, along with K-pop and films like Parasite, found such a massive international audience. And the visual design? That was no accident either. The guards' pink uniforms were modeled after insect exoskeletons, meant to strip away all individuality and create drone-like enforcers. The circle, triangle, and square symbols weren't random either. They were inspired by ant colonies, circles as workers, triangles as soldiers, and squares as managers. The entire system was built to mirror blind obedience and hierarchy, just like in an insect colony. Even the coffins were symbolic, those pink boxes with bows. They weren't meant to be cute, they were a dark metaphor. According to the director, the ribbons represent how the game's creators view death as a gift to the poor. It's a twisted way of showing how the elite justify their cruelty, offering a so-called dignified death in exchange for entertainment. And remember when Gi-hun dyes his hair red at the end of season 1? That wasn't random either. Red was chosen to symbolize rage, transformation, and rebellion, a visual declaration that Gi-hun would no longer be a passive player in the system. It was the beginning of his next chapter, and possibly a revolution. But the show's influence wasn't all positive. After it aired, some schools reported kids imitating the games, roughhousing, punishing losers, even causing injuries. Educators had to issue warnings, and in some places, banned discussions about the show entirely. A piece of fiction had leaked into reality in ways no one expected. And unfortunately, real-life tragedy wasn't limited to the fans. In 2023, actor Oh Young-soo, who played the elderly contestant Oh Il-nam, was found guilty of sexual misconduct. He received a suspended sentence and was ordered to complete a sexual violence treatment program. It's a stark reminder that sometimes the darkness extends beyond the screen. Finally, the lore of the series itself is just as shocking. According to the timeline within the show, the Squid Game tournament was held every year between 1988 and 2019. And every year, only one person survived. That means approximately 14,560 people were killed over 3 decades. Gi-hun alone witnessed 841 of those deaths with his own eyes. And still, he walked away determined to challenge the system. From real dolls and injuries to symbolic uniforms, delayed dreams, and global cultural impact, Squid Game was more than a show. It was a phenomenon born out of pain, vision, and a bit of luck, and its legacy is still unfolding.